Um, Hello everyone. So today I'm talking to the greatest couple, traveling couple I've ever met, Nancy and Joseph. They call themselves nomads. Hi Nancy, hi Joseph.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so you travel so much. Can you please tell why do you do that?
Well, I started traveling when I was a kid with my mom at 13 in 1961, and I went to 40 countries in 10 years, and I saw my first tourist 10 years later. There was only business people, businessmen that were traveling in those early times. And so I've been traveling all my life. Nancy, she's been traveling many, many years too. And we are on a trip now for 12 years. We're halfway through it because our trip is fully 25 years.
Wow. And how many countries have you been to?
I've been to over 150 countries,
Oh,
and
wow.
many of them many times.
That is so
I
great.
used to go to Europe 7 times a year, and I went around the world 4 times a year
Okay.
to visit people around the world. So I've been around the world 34 times.
That is so great.
But this trip, we've been very slow, and we've been to many countries. In Southeast Asia, about 6.5 years, 14.5 months in China, a year in Australia, 4 months in the Philippines, a year in India, 2.5 years in Southern and Eastern African countries, and another 2.5 years in South America and Central America. So you can see that all on our website, and we're on our way to West Africa next. So now we go everywhere, not just tourist sites. We go to very, very remote areas.
But how do you manage to travel so long? Like, how do you fund your travels?
Well, we actually find that it's about 1/3 to 1/4 as expensive to travel than it is to live in Hawaii, where our home is. So we both sold our homes, and now we just travel. And it's less expensive, and every day is more exciting than sitting around the house watching TV.
That is so
And
good.
Joseph says that it doesn't matter how much you make, it's how much you don't spend that makes a difference in life. And we're very careful, but we do whatever we want, and we're living overseas, so it's a different type of lifestyle.
We bargain hard for our rooms, and we usually find we're paying 25 to 50% less than most other tourists and staying in a nicer place. So there's travel tips on our website that teaches people how to travel cheaply, and health notes, thoughts on health that teach us all about how to stay healthy, because if you travel, you have to be healthy, and you have to learn how to live in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife taught me that.
Yeah, that's what I like the best about traveling, is it forces you into the now. It's like we didn't know we would be doing this. Yesterday, everything is new, and it's like a blank canvas, and we paint it every day. So this is what we enjoy.
Yeah, that is very, very inspiring. Okay, and what about the meetings with other people? You've been to so many countries. You must have friends everywhere.
We've got 160,000 people coming to our website, and Nancy is usually about 2 months behind in putting it up because it takes a long time to do the pictures and the writing. And after she sends out the announcement, she gets 50 to 100 emails back from people in over 100 countries. Well over 100 countries. People in Mongolia look at our website, and China and Brazil, and all around the world. It's very exciting. So it's a totally free website. We have no interest in any advertising. We don't accept advertising. It's merely to teach people that traveling is cheap, and most of all, it's safe. In 12 years, we've never had any problems at all, not with security. We just, we are smart, but we have no robberies or anything like that, and we're not lucky. We've been doing it every day for 12 years. If it would have happened to us, it would have happened to us by now. The first question people ask is, do you feel safe? We always feel safe.
I think it's important when you live like this not to be fearful. I mean, once in a while you run into something, but basically we say 95% good people and 5% not so good. So you try and stay away from the 5%, and it's a great world. I mean, we are looking for how beautiful and wonderful and safe and loving the world is, and that's what we find.
So your message is that traveling is pretty safe, right?
No, it's traveling is very safe.
It's very safe.
Not pretty safe.
Okay.
And that's the first thing people are concerned about is it safe or not? And if you go to a town and you find there's tourists all over the place, that's not a problem. Just walk 2 blocks in any direction. You're in the tourist center and you'll be out with the local people, which is the reason why we travel. And we always travel whenever possible on the local buses, because that's how you meet the local people. And we get involved with the history. You find people that take a 2-week vacation to get away from their job are interested in going somewhere and relaxing. And they don't want to hear anything about the local culture. And that's good, but it's not so good. You know, you need to travel a little longer to learn about what's really going on.
But how do you get along with other people? Like, you know just English, right? And you travel to such remote places everywhere.
I never have a problem. My wife, she knows 156 languages fluently, and so she just
we learn 10 or 12 phrases when we're in a country, and we have this little thing called a cheat sheet. And we get someone who knows really good English and their language, and it's written out in English and their language. And if we get into a situation where people no one speaks English, then we show them this little paper and we say we would like to buy vegetables, or we want noodles with no meat. That's the only way. And we spent 1 month in China. We just took the bus in the middle of China, not where the Lonely Planet said, and we didn't meet anyone who spoke English for a month. And we did fine. We're like clowns. We're pantomime. We make jokes. We have a great time.
We make people smile.
Yeah. And we really like people. I think that's the difference. We really like.
Now, we talk to fellow travelers, and they say, these people in this country are not very friendly. And I say, well, maybe it's that you're not very friendly. So travelers need to learn how to smile, shake people's hands, say how much they love being in their country. We've been invited into many dozens of people's houses to eat dinner, to spend time, and it is just amazing, the people that we meet. Yeah, so it's your responsibility as an ambassador, as a traveler, to smile, because a lot of local people are apprehensive about strange people. And once you smile, 100% of them will smile back.
That's a universal language.
Oh, absolutely.
Smiling. So that's what we use.
Yeah, 94% of everything you say is with your body and not with your mouth.
So it doesn't. You don't have to know English or other language to make friends, right? You just have to smile and be friendly.
Well, I would recommend that people who travel a lot and they don't know English should know better English, because English is the world language, and we're fortunate. The one language that I do know, other than the language of love, of course, is oh boy, that paid. The language of love, of course. Okay, so it's English, and so we're finding more and more people, and more and people learning English. There's actually more people learning English in China than live in Great Britain.
Okay.
So it's easy. We've been doing it for years, and we make it. We make it.
I carry in my little bag, like my day bag, my Buddha bag, I carry photos of Hawaii. I carry a little map I ripped out of Lonely Planet of the world. So I can say, here we are in Zambia, Africa, and here is Hawaii, where we live. And they go, oh. And then I show them pictures of Hawaii, I show them pictures of the family, I show them pictures when I was a teacher of my students, and they love it. And then I say I have 2 children, I tell them all about that. I have
Tell them about the balloons.
2 grandchildren, and I show them pictures. They say, oh, I have 4 children and I have 6 grandchildren, and it gets things started.
Everybody wants to talk about their kids.
Yeah.
And then she's got a bunch of balloons. So we'll go into a village with everybody's run into their house, into a very remote Central African village. Everybody's in their house saying there's somebody invading us. And then the kids will come out, and Nancy will blow up the balloons, and I'll take pictures, and they'll all dance around and pass the balloons back and forth. And after a while, even the parents will actually come out,
Yeah.
and they'll be interested in what's going on. So we make friends that way, and we make friends in the local market because we go out. We're vegetarian. We go out and buy vegetables and fruit every day in the market. And first day, nobody knows us. Guaranteed, the second day, everybody knows us because we buy food, unlike many tourists that just go there, take pictures. Buy some food.
And we'll buy a big bag of food, and when we meet someone and say, okay, we cook together in your house, and sometimes it's over 3 sticks in the fire, and make a big stew, and I always are looking at us, and I say, come on in, have some. And it's like this big party, and they just came to look at us. But
You really know how to make friends.
We're happy to be experiencing the world, and we're not at home watching our TV.
we're doing it in reality, not reality TV or virtual.
You're living your life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Or come to our website, which is free. We don't make any money on it at all. And just enjoy our travels with us. And you can send us an email, which is right at the top of the website, the homepage, and say, we really enjoy your pictures. Keep them coming.
Okay, I'm really glad to have a conversation with you, and just tell some words to people who really want to travel but they're so much afraid. So maybe you can be a source of inspiration to them. Just say something to them, please.
Well, it's totally safe to travel. I've been doing it for 53 years in 150 countries. I've been in the remotest areas of Africa and India and Asia and Australia and South America, and you just don't have problems. You don't have problems if you don't make them. And if you smile a lot
And you
you're
find
friendly.
what you look for.
Yeah.
So you just don't be afraid, and I think really important is you make your plan if you're doing a month trip or something. Of course you have to make some plan, but then take one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's a big scary thing if you're looking at it in a big chunk, but for us we've been traveling for 12 and a half years nonstop, and it's just one day at a time.
I've found a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't like China. They're so unfriendly. I say, you telling me that 1.6 billion people are not friendly?
Well, we had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
But you must know their culture. They're loud and they like to bargain hard.
Oh, yeah,
and
if you don't bargain, they don't like you.
You just have to learn a little bit about the culture and just, talk to them. And here, for instance, we know the people in this neighborhood, and, we go on the back of the motorcycle with Neomon, and we went to the wedding yesterday, and I was talking to this guy over the wall every day. And he said, I'm getting married next week. You want to come to my wedding? I said, okay, I'll go.
And we were the only foreigners there. So.
Yeah, except
and
for you,
later I was the only foreigner as well.
Yeah.
Well, later they let the Russians in.
We let Natasha, Boris.
Yeah.
He's Boris.
Oh, yeah.
For your information.
Joseph Boris.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. It was so nice talking to you.
Come and
Email us.
Come and see us on worldglobetrotters.com.
Yeah, remember this site.
And email us, and we'll meet you somewhere. That's a challenge. Okay?
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for watching us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.